Hey, Sean. I'm a video producer here in St. Louis, Missouri, and I've been doing this for about 15 years. And about 15 years ago, someone gave me the great advice of buy a good tripod because it'll last you forever. And that's true. The tripod that is holding the camera right now is a Manfrotto aluminum tripod that I bought 15 years ago when I first started buying gear, and I'm still using it today as I make this video. And I still use it on all of my shoots as like I usually use two cameras. And so at some point when I started using two cameras, I bought a second Manfrotto tripod. This one with carbon fiber legs. It's a little lighter, but still a little beefier. Also with a big fluid head, a Manfrotto 502, MVH 502 AH. I don't know what all that means, but that's what it is. And these have been the two tripods that I have used and loved and known for my entire career. And only recently did I want to start filming golf. I have golf content coming, get excited. But as I'm out there playing, I wanted to film myself, and I didn't want to drag one of these giant tripods to try to fit this in a golf bag. So I was like, you know what, I'll get a travel tripod. I had the Manfrotto Be-Free for a while, and I didn't really like it. It had the weird tiny video head on it. Didn't love it. And so I looked into it, and I ended up going with the three-legged thing, Patti Smith. And it was brand new. It didn't have a lot of reviews, but it looked like what I wanted, except it had a ball head. And I'm a video guy. I need a video head. Or so I thought. And as I was thinking, if I'm just filming myself and I want to primarily use my phone to do that, maybe bring my camera sometimes, I don't need a video head. And so I bought the tripod and I quickly fell in love with it. And I traveled. I was filming something in the mountains in Pennsylvania. And so I needed something really light, and I was able to take this tripod and use it with my camera built out with the matte box and all that stuff. And it was fantastic because what I shoot so often is interviews, seated interviews, and B-roll. And what occurred to me after shooting this whole thing and worried about if this ball head was going to limit me in any way, it dawned on me that I don't think in 15 years, maybe 14 years ago was the last time, I don't think I've done an on-tripod pan or tilt in my career. Definitely not in the past 8 or 10 years. And that move is why you need a video head. And it hit me that I've had these video heads for so long, and they're expensive. It's expensive to get a video head because they're fluid balanced, and sometimes they have resistance and all this stuff and huge payloads. And in my head, when I started, I did have a beefier Sony Z5U. It was a bigger camera, a little heavier with big batteries on it. And that did need a rig, but as cameras have evolved and gotten lighter and smaller, you don't need this. If you've got a Red, if you've got an ARRI or something like that, yeah, you're gonna need a bigger camera. With a bigger camera, you're gonna need a bigger tripod. But for those of us shooting mirrorless cameras, this is so overkill most of the time. And so it is so overkill that there's this giant arm on the back of it. And again, I'm never sitting doing stuff like this. That's not my style of video. If it's yours, you need something like this. If not, it's really useless. And so for years, if you've ever seen a behind the scenes photo or anything from any of my work, I don't keep these arms on here because they're just in the way and you have to fold them up, but I'm never using the arm to move anything around. So I don't have an arm on it and I just move it around like this. And I don't need to. And the other problem is not only are they more expensive, but you need a bowl tripod with a bowl head on it if you want to connect it in a way where you can level it. Because right now, I don't have that. Both of mine have these center shafts, which make it easier to add a little bit of height. But if it's uneven, if I'm on uneven ground, if I'm outside or something like that, there is no quick and easy way to adjust just one leg and hope you get it right. Like, it's just not a quick thing. If you have a bowl mount, you can unscrew that thing and move it around, but those are expensive. Those are expensive, and you're using a bowl mount then to just have your video head on top of it, and it's redundant and it's expensive, and this is all I've known. And as I give advice to people about what tripod to get, especially lately, for the month and a half that I've had this ball head tripod, unless you've got a huge camera or you're doing really static pans and tilts, I don't know why you would get a video head. This ball head has been fantastic, and I'm going to talk, this isn't a review of the Patti Smith, but this three-legged thing Patti Smith tripod, I love this thing for a few reasons. Number one, it's really easy to set up. It's got the little flappers on the things to expand. There's nothing to twist or anything like that, with the exception of the center pole is a twist to lock. But it's really strong. It has the Arca Swiss plate. And for me, because I'm doing seated interviews, I find my frame, and you can loosen it, move it all around, make sure your camera's level. There's levels on the side of this, and then you also have the levels in your camera. But instead of having to adjust legs and left and right, and I don't have a bowl, so I can't do it quickly, I can quickly frame up my shot, turn this to lock it, and my shot is good to go. And that is pretty quick. The advantage that a video head has over a ball head is that if I need this to go just up a little bit, with the video head, it's really easy to loosen it and adjust that tilt a little bit, tighten it, keep your horizontal right where it is. I will admit that that is a little harder because as soon as you loosen it, the camera sort of falls in your hand and you've got to really get it. But once you get it, it stays there. The other little thing that I've noticed is that with a ball head, when you tighten it, usually that last little turn actually turns the lens a little bit, turns the camera a little bit. And so it can be a little tricky. But for me, that little trickiness and learning to just, oh, I'm right there, hold it real steady as I tighten it, that is so much easier than dealing with trying to level a tripod that has no bowl mount on it, or paying, to get a video head and a good set of sticks. You're looking at like $800 to $1,000 for these Manfrotto setups and stuff like that. And this was $120. And yes, this is a travel tripod and it isn't as sturdy, especially if you have a really heavy rig. But for everything that I did in Pennsylvania, I was blown away that this was so easy to use. It never let me down. It was never not sturdy when I needed it. Even in the wind, when I've got a big French flag on the camera, it's holding steady. It's not shaking around. And the little bonus thing that I love about this one, which really, and I didn't know this when I bought it, but for filming golf content, I'm using my phone a lot. And I have the iFootage little camera clip thing, but without any extra mount, I can just slide this in here and my phone is mounted on this, and I can use the ball head to move it around any direction, clamp it down, and I'm good to go. And that is so neat. And as I've been filming myself and doing a few live streams lately, and I do most of my live streams from my phone, it's been really nice to not have to get something, put a Manfrotto plate in the bottom of it just to mount it on my tripod. Just to be able to slide this in is a handy setup that I didn't plan. Luckily, this is Arca Swiss compatible. And I think maybe sort of Manfrotto by this thing flipping out, but I've never actually gotten it to fit in here securely. But a handy little thing. I do recommend these iFootage phone clamps. But it's a handy little system. As I've grown and had more experience as a video producer, and as I continue to get asked about gear, I've definitely reached the spot where I won't buy a fluid video head again. And if you're anything like me, and if you shoot a lot of seated interviews and B-roll is usually handheld or on a gimbal or a slider or something like that, I don't think I would recommend a video head. For the few things that it makes it easy to really feather some framing, maybe, but all the added expense of something to be able to do that versus maybe an extra 10 seconds of patience, I'm going ball head. I'm going ball head every time now. And before you hop in the comments and tell me that I'm wrong, I admit if you have a huge camera rig, it's probably going to be easier. It's probably going to be sturdier and more secure if you've got a giant red with a big telephoto lens on it and a rail system and monitors and V-mount batteries on it. Yeah, you're going to want something a little beefier. But if you're shooting a mirrorless camera, I'm using a Sony a7S III with even a 70 to 200 on it with a matte box on that and a microphone mounted on it. All that is like a 7 or 8 pound rig. And I was using that on this tripod for a week in the mountains of Pennsylvania. All my footage is wonderful from it. And I never noticed any shakiness, any problems with the wind, and there was wind. So I feel like I've stress tested for everything that I'm gonna see. And I'm somebody who, at this point in my career, if my gear isn't quite right, but it's right for 90% of what I do, then I will rent someone or hire somebody for the other 10%. If I need something where we're gonna get panning shots, I mean, granted, I have these, but I think my next move would be to sell these Manfrotto video heads and go all in on the ball heads, because for me, it's simpler, it's faster, it's cheaper, and there's maybe a slight inconvenience that you can fix in about 5 to 6 seconds, versus bringing around a lot heavier gear that you're never really going to fully utilize. That's all I got. I think in the next few weeks, I'm going to do a more detailed breakdown and review of the Patty Smith, but for now, just know that I'm enjoying it. I recommend this tripod. I'm not paid by that. They don't know I'm here. They don't know I'm talking about this. No one knows I'm here. No one knows I'm talking about video gear. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, it sincerely means a lot to me. If you've got any questions, suggestions, or ideas for me to test with any of these tripods, feel free to throw them in the comments and I'll do my best. Have a great day or night, whatever, wherever. See you later. Bye.